This is the Army Today. If you're looking for a career working with animals every day, the Army is probably not your first choice. But that's exactly what Captain Katrina Waklovic did. She's an Army doctor who cares for soldiers' pets. Sergeant Matt Waymer explains.
Army Captain Katrina Waklovic is not an ordinary doctor.
It's the best job in the Army. What other job do you get to play with puppies and kittens?
Not many. In fact, there are only about 200 board-certified specialists in the whole field of Army veterinarians. Captain Waklovic works thoroughly for the care of her Area 4 pets.
I think a lot of my job is very meticulous. It's a lot of finding things that you have to know normal really well to recognize abnormal, and so knowing exactly how a dog's heart should sound clues you into how something is going wrong when it sounds a little bit different.
That seems difficult, but here's something easier for her, talking about her favorite animal.
I guess if I had to pick a favorite animal that I get to work with, it would definitely be the military working dogs. Those dogs put their lives on the line, they're handlers, and those dogs have an amazing bond, and it's so great to work with them.
Veterinary medicine has always interested her.
Whenever we had to bring animals to the vet for health concerns or just regular checkups, I was always eager to go, and we had really great vets that answered all my questions and were very supportive of me going into the field. And it was really observing them and seeing how well they took care of our animals and how compassionate and professional they were when it came to the end of life for some of our pets. That really made me love the field.
Army Sergeant Matt Waymeyer, Camp Walker, Korea.
And that's the Army Today.
Mission across the world to Afghanistan.
There were days when really it was quiet, there were no casualties, and other days when multiple casualties came in at multiple times.
George Washington University Hospital cardiac surgeon Dr. Frederick Lau began his journey January 2nd. After President Obama's call to increase the number of troops in Afghanistan, the Army reservist asked to be placed back onto active duty. His assignment, chief trauma surgeon at a Spanish military hospital on a NATO base in the mountains of western Afghanistan.
We were the first American team to enter a non-English speaking NATO facility.
And that added some extra challenges.
All the paperwork, all the computers, all the laptops, all the keyboards were in Spanish.
There wasn't much time for adjustment. Dr. Lau says injured soldiers and Afghan nationals arrived at the tiny facility constantly.
We saw head injuries, abdominal injuries, some chest injuries, fragment injuries from mortars and IEDs.
Part of the job was juggling and treating patients with less than the medical professionals were accustomed to. The makeshift hospital had just 2 operating rooms, 4 intensive care beds, and capacity to hold 12 people overnight. A big difference compared to the sprawling, high-tech DC hospital that Lau is used to.
There was a lot of adrenaline when casualty was coming in. Sometimes we would think there was 1 casualty and 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 would come in. And sometimes the information was accurate and sometimes it wasn't, so you would think they were relatively low-level injury, and then when the door opened in the emergency room, if you will, you found out that information was really incorrect.
But while there was plenty of frustration, Dr. Lau says the experience brought him and his fellow surgeons back to the basics of medicine, a refreshing experience compared to the bureaucracy often found in modern healthcare.
There was less paperwork, if you would. There is no insurance, so it was straight medicine. If somebody needed a procedure and we had the techniques and instruments to do it, we would take care of the patients.
Looking back now on his 3-month stay, Lau says he often thinks of how his former colleagues are holding up as this war continues.
You knew the combat situation continued, the trauma continued, and the casualties continued to come in, and so you wondered how people were doing. I feel very fortunate to have been able to do it, really. I'm the lucky person in the whole situation.
Пане президенте, Верховного Головнокомандувача Особовий склад, доручення техніки вишуканий.